All right, welcome everyone to Let's Talk Real Life with Ms. Nita Manning. I'm your co-host Vernon Garrison, and welcome to Awesome Radio 107.5 on your FM dial here locally and 1570 AM WECU. If you're over here in Eastern North Carolina, in the Greenville, North Carolina area, tune in. Please do. You can follow us and the show on social media, though. Awesome Radio YouTube and Awesome Radio Facebook, GPAT 23 Facebook, and GPAT uh, on your YouTube dial. All right. Well, we have a powerful show tonight, as usual. And we want to go ahead and let the teacher start teaching. And I will turn it over to Miss Nada Manning at this time. Greetings, greetings, greetings.
Greetings, everyone. Greeting, Coach. Greetings to all of you who are listening to us this evening, this morning, this day. And yes, we are coming to you to talk now about father wounds. The past several weeks, we've been talking about mother wounds. Did not want you fathers to feel left out. Because I can hear somebody saying now, well, what about us? What about the dads? What about the grandpas? Well, I want to talk a little bit about father wounds. The phrase father wound is commonly used in psychology, counseling, and popular self-help discussions to describe emotional impact. Well, that's what wounds generally are, some type of impact, whether it's emotional or physical or psychological. Having a father who was absent, neglectful, abusive, unavailable, unable to take care of his needs for his family or his children for whatever reason. So we have father wounds, similar to mother wounds in that I believe that the mother wounds are definitely different in many aspects, not all aspects, but many aspects. The mother wounds are different from the father wounds. Why? Because mom is mom. Mom is the carrier of the baby, so the attachment is deeper. Mom has more feelings and more emotions tied into that child for that reason, that attachment. Does not mean that the fathers did not care for the children, does not mean that they didn't have some type of attachment as well, but it's clearly different than the mother wound. A good example could be if a child is hurt or you get a phone call in the middle of the night or somebody calling you from school saying your child is involved in a fight or your child has been hurt. Mom is the one that's going to get hysterical. I mean, that's a given. Call that good, bad, or indifferent. Dad, he gets excited as well, but I believe that he, for the most part, would carry it a little bit more calming than the mom would. Many times I've learned that when it comes to the mom and the dad about their child, whatever the situation is, if it's a school situation or some type of physical attack, somebody beat them up on the street or whatever it is, the mom and dad get together. There are times, I would say most of the time, mom is the one with the most to say about it. There are some dads that get hysterical too, but on a percentage wise, I think it's most of the time the mom. So again, going back to dad wounds, father wounds, dad would take that situation probably to think through it a little bit clearer than mom, because mom has her emotions all tied in it. Dad wounds also, father wounds can also stem from if he does not respond a certain way. It does not mean he doesn't care. It could mean that he's just not used to that type of situation. He's just not getting himself all wrapped up in it because perhaps he wasn't wrapped up in it as a child himself growing up. So he would not know how to respond to that. Does that mean that he's an uncaring father? No, it means that that's a wound that he carries. And can it be fixed? Of course it can be fixed. But I think for the most part, can he do it by himself? I don't think so. As macho as the man is and supposed to be, I do believe that the father, still needs some type of support, whether it be from the wife or the mother, the girlfriend, or maybe one of his siblings, maybe his brother, his older brother, or something like that. An uncle, for example. But the support is definitely needed, I believe, for these wounds of the father, because truth be told, it's an old, and I still say it's still today. It's a cliche, something that's pretending. I don't know, but anyway, it's an old saying that men, for the most part, dads, are supposed to be stronger in many areas. He's supposed to be the one to carry the weight. But if he's wounded, he is torn inside himself and he's struggling. He's trying to take care of this over here and take care of that over there. But yet in his mind, he's still trying to pull it all together. And maybe he just was not trained, or maybe he wasn't loved enough. How about that? Let me throw that in there. Maybe he didn't get the love that he was supposed to get, the caring spirit. No? Okay.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that part. You think I'm going to sit here and let you talk about men to the point that you're saying men wounds automatically disqualify them?
No.
Wounded men, hold on. Don't shake that head, don't do it. That automatically disqualify them from raising children. So, but you won't, but I know your content and I know your positions because I listen to them every week. You done stepped in it. But women can raise children even under those circumstances that they're under. Tremendous pressure.
I didn't say that.
Hold on, but you're saying that women are better handling children. You didn't say that, but that's what you explained. Now, I don't know how you're going to clean this up.
I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to clean it up.
Sure
you finish talking, I'm going to clean it up.
Okay, but I made sure that I heard you say a few times that men can't do this because, and they need help. They can't do it alone. I heard those words. But if we were talking about women, you're going to say, well, they do the best they can. They do this, they do that. Even with their issues, both groups, men and women, got issues. But you just came out your mouth and said the man got to have somebody else. You talking like God. Man shouldn't be alone. He's not going to do well. So I got to send him a woman. Yeah, that's the way a man got to have somebody, but a woman don't have to have somebody.
That's what you got out of it. That's your perspective, and touche for you.
Well, you just said we can't rewind this tape back and hear what you said.
I know what I said,
but we can watch it together. You said the men, they can't do it. Now, if I looked at you and said, no, you can't raise your children by yourself because you got too many wounds. You can't do it. Now, we all say that a single woman, sure, it'd be great. She got a support system, her uncle, or cousin, some kind of man to be in that child's life. I ain't talking about on that level. It sounds like to me that you just said a straight man can't do it. Okay, I'm gonna sit back and finish, but I want to mark that point before I forgot it, because we know the statistics. Men make better parents than women in a lot of ways, and it's not just the nurturing part, but
and you're right. You're absolutely right.
We teach more than women teach. We spend more quality time. Women all the time. Now, this is for the women that haven't heard my point. Stop. Don't do this. Don't do that. Where you want to eat at? You going to your mama house. They do more coaching and the emotional directing, like you were saying. Women are more emotional. But you didn't disqualify the women for taking care of the children, though. All right, I do have some other stuff though that'll be about what the man does.
I'm sure you do. I'm
Not
sure
not in this point. I just wanted to put that point together. Carry on.
you just wanted. Okay, okay. Point taken. Touche. But you took that out of context. I did not.
Ah,
I
I,
did.
I made sure I heard your point all the way through till you start going somewhere else. And
Okay.
I'm like,
Well,
let
then
me
let
go
me
back.
say this. Let me say this.
We'll
Then
clean it up then.
that is not the way I intended it to be taken.
Okay.
And you are right to bring that out because I'm sure you're not the only one that's going to say the same thing
Yes.
as a man. That's what you're going to say.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But I'm going to clean that up, sir.
Yeah.
Now.
And mind you, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all say he always interrupt me. I do agree that I remember taking care of my child, even babysitting my child. I fell apart a lot of times, but I still took care of my child. And the thing is, it's the social construct that we set up in the families that women do all the work. And I don't agree with that. I think men should have more responsibilities and they should be told that that's your child. Not when you get mad at them. It's your child too. No, 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 no. When that child come out in this society nowadays, we're considering that child a woman's child. And that's why the man can't take care of that child. That's why he don't want to change no diaper, because he's not responsible to change a diaper. Because you in the way doing everything. Yeah.
Can you finish? Are you done?
Yeah.
No more interruptions, promise?
None.
Okay.
I ain't gonna promise, but no.
Anyway, I was not trying to downplay the father's role at all. The father is very much needed. He's very much wanted in more ways than one by the parent, the mother, and the child or children. I was not trying to say that the man is incapable of doing certain things. That is not what I was trying to say. What I'm saying is, for the most part, and I did say there are times when the father does step up and he does take the lead. That is what I was trying to get out. He does take the lead. Case in point, say mom is maybe she's a working woman that works crazy hours in the medical field, a doctor or a traveling nurse or something like that. And dad, for the most part, is home meaning in town, not in the house. Let me get that straight before that gets misunderstood. He's working, but he's working a regular job where he is home in the evenings. Mom, however, has a traveling job or a swing shift job where she cannot be there. In those cases, the man, for the most part, not all the time, but I would say many, not even most, I would say many times the man will step up and fill in the gap for the mother because she is unavailable. Sometimes, not all the time. And in that case, that makes him just as responsible physically and emotionally by attaching with those children, just like mom would if she was there. So there are situations where the dad, and that does not mean he's not wounded. He still can be wounded. He still can be wounded in his emotional state of mind. Maybe at some point he might, I don't know, get kind of, I don't want to say tired, but it's truth. We're talking real life here on Let's Talk Real Life. So he can at some point get kind of tired of taking on all of that. Perhaps he might want to take a break himself. Well, so does mom. But I'm saying dad's wounds, I think, go deeper in that sense. I think. Because the dad is the man. The man is, I think I was trying to say that before when I was kindly interrupted. It's an old cliche where the man is supposed to be the man of the house, where he is supposed to take the lead on many things, not everything. he could be a wounded man in that he don't know how to do that. Why don't he know how to do it? Maybe he wasn't taught. Maybe he wasn't trained by his father, who was absent in his life, which is the same scenario that we talked about last week with the mothers. So I believe that there can be a lot more structure going on to kind of fix, heal these wounds, because the man's role is different in most cases from the woman's role, from the mother's role. And if he's taught and was brought up or was told by someone else in his elders that, man, hey, you supposed to be handling your business, dude. You know, that's your house. You supposed to be taking care of things. And I say that to be true, but it all depends on how things are set up in the house between the mother and the father. Now you have those that are not with the mother. You talking about wounds. That's a whole different scenario when you have younger children and dad, what they call that. What kind of parenting is that? I forgot. What's that word?
You talking about co-parenting?
Co-parenting, yes. Well, okay, co-parenting because they are not together. Okay, that can work if they work together. But again, we go back to the difficult. Let's talk about some of these things that the father wounds can look like. Trusting, okay, difficulty trusting others. Now, he could have that issue because something may have happened to him in his younger years, either by his father or by, I don't know, an uncle or some male person in his family, or any other, maybe his favorite, what you call his buddy. What you call your best buddy, Vern? You men.
Well, that's what you call him, your best buddy, your best buddy.
Your best buddy. Okay.
Your bestie, your ride or die.
Yeah.
You know.
Back in my day, it was called the Ace Boon Coon.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so much for that. Moving forward. It becomes a problem in that if he has come from a broken home or a home that was not all together, well, then what home is all together? I mean, 100%. I don't think there are any. But saying all that to say the structure and the mannerism that he was brought up to do this when you're dating, when you're taking care of your girl, you're taking care of your daughter. I was told that the dad is supposed to be the first one to take his daughter on a date. That's what I was told. And I think that's a great idea because he is supposed to be showing her how her boyfriend or her date is supposed to treat her when they go out. Open the door, other mannerable things, walk on the opposite side of her and not on the street side, but on her right. He stays to her left, walking down. It's a protective thing. So if he wasn't taught to do all of that, then this daughter that he's bringing up won't know to do that either unless she hears it from someone else, some other male in the family. So it creates a concern in that woundedness that he's experiencing. It affects his relationships himself and how he treats his wife or his woman or his girl or his significant other. If he's wounded himself, then that creates a problem and why he does not do things a certain way.
Can I add some things when you're talking about the wounds of the father and how they may affect the children? And it says, does the father's past or his trauma affect the family and affect the children? Like I said before, you don't know sometimes why you're acting in a certain way. You're acting that way because your mama or your daddy or your granddaddy or your great granddaddy was like that. We keep thinking we're authors and finishers of our own faith. No, we're not. Let me read a little bit of biology here. Yes, fathers can absolutely pass trauma on to their children. The intergenerational transmission occurs through both biological mechanisms and the direct influence of the father's behavior, emotional state, and family environment. Let's get a little bit more specific. How paternal trauma is passed. Okay, epigenetics. A father's traumatic experience can cause chemical tags to attach to his DNA. These
Is that,
modifications, I'm
is-
sorry?
excuse me, is that something that can be controlled? Was passed on and through his DNA? He can't control that.
No, that's already in his DNA. It's getting ready to
Right.
change. I'm going to tell you what it's getting ready to come out of. These modifications do not change the underlying genetic code, but they alter how genes are expressed and can be encoded in his sperm, directly impacting the biology and stress responses of his offspring. That's just one great big sentence that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And I wish I could finish that scripture. But as you act, as you become, as you live, that's who you are. And then as you begat life, as life begets life, we pass it on. We pass it on. So, but it's get encoded in your sperm. You're literally passing on yourself, and then you don't understand why people do certain things. That's why I say some people are not meant for good. Because now all of us can do bad, but some people have intentions on doing bad.
Let me ask you this on that same topic. I've heard different ones say, hurt people hurt people. I have always had a deep concern about that individual that really believe and act on that particular statement. Just because I'm hurting, I'm going to hurt someone else and deliberately do it, knowingly.
We just said that. So stop right there. That's a compelling thing. Let me go stay on the biology side. It's the appetite for it. You got the taste in your mouth to do foolishness. You want it, you feel it. And so they're not necessarily making the decision. They have an appetite for blood. When they see it, it gives them a head rush. When they see somebody get destroyed or when they see somebody fighting. So hurt people, but hurt people may not necessarily hurt people because that's what uh they're just, oh, I'm gonna hurt somebody today. No, it's more of an appetite, it's more of a craving, it's more of an urge.
Okay, well, saying
Like
all
a
of that.
sex drive. They want to do it knowing that, hey man, I gotta maintain myself. No, they're out to fulfill that selfish rage. So that's why they hurt people, not to just want to go around and become a boxer. Some may make a legitimate decision because they're skillful and athletic enough to play football. But there's
How do
some
you
who don't.
how do you explain? We talking about hurting people, woundedness, wounded,
Yeah,
wounded people,
yeah.
and because they are wounded, they end up hurting someone that don't have a clue about why what happened.
And they may not know why it happened to them.
But it don't have to be the same thing that happened to them.
Yeah, it don't. It don't. So there's two different categories. What you call it? The sin of commission and the sin of omission. I told you I'm smart at least one day a week. The sin of commission, intent, malice, and forethought. And the sin of omission means maybe you just didn't do something and that was sin. You didn't obey the law and you just kept going. You didn't stop at the stop sign. Look up the word omission. But there are things that you can sin and willfully do, and there are things that you just didn't do anything or didn't pay attention and it had negative ramifications.
All of this woundedness that come from both genders is where we are today.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many people out there that some of them are deliberately doing stuff. And because there's so many of us in this world, whatever they do is going to affect somebody.
Just look at children. Just look at a group of children. You're going to have one in there that's hitting people. One in there that's not just for competition reasons. One in there that's going to go around and mess up people's puzzle. Somebody's putting something together, a sandcastle, or a thing. And
Attention.
Yeah.
Attention.
Now, attention is one. It could be. But the other one is they inherently going to be destructive for that time period. Mm-hmm. Now, some children have not been told no as much as others. So some have sort of a right of righteousness about them. They can have any piece of toy they want, and they're going to take it from another child. That's sometimes, no restraints. They feel entitled. But no, there's a different person.
So where does these wounds come in at that level, as young as that?
Yeah.
They grow up practicing the similar, if not, I won't say the same behavior, they take stuff, but not in the same manner. Yeah. But they still have the same mentality because they are wounded. No one took the time, or they themselves didn't take the time to listen. I won't say it's always no one told them. Sometimes they just didn't listen as a child, and they're growing up. And all of a sudden they're young adults.
Now let me stop before we get to the young adults, because now it's time for you to stop talking. And the fact that I said that like that, I wanted to get some people's attention, because the man raising a child will recognize those wounds that he transferred to that child. And that man is going to be in a position 14, 15, 16, 17 to confront that demon in that child that he knows that he had. Okay, he's going to have an opportunity to confront that. And at this time, you got a parent, if you got a mom there, she's got to make a decision. She's got to make a decision to let that dad carry out his mission. It's a pivotal point, because these things have already been impressed upon the child by the time he's 8 years old. So the dad has got to do this work. But the mom don't want to see, and I'm probably talking to 10,000 men out there and 10,000 and 100,000 women. The woman will not let this man clip that boy because she loves him and she nurtures him. But when that man sees that trauma in that boy, he recognizes it. Whether this man is a upstanding man, he's fulfilled the job description of a man, or whether he's less than a man and haven't fulfilled his calling as the man of the house. He knows. And if he's been emasculated and he's like, yes, honey, man, and yes, honey, and okay, and she leaves, he will still recognize that boy got to have the initiation process to become a man, or he's going to be you got an alpha, now you got a male that's less than what he operating on, where less than what he could be as far as a leader, as far as a provider, a beta male, I think they might call him. So when when we as men recognize we have the traumas that we haven't dealt with, then most of the white noise comes from the women that's around us identifying the problem. You're this, you that, you need to deal with this. You need to do this. But no, I'm gonna just blanket. I'm gonna do like women do sometimes. Nobody wants to get to the root of the problem. Everybody want to identify something God already identified. This man is broken and he can't do well without a woman. It is not good for him to be alone. And that's the part. Like, you don't have to keep telling men that. We already know, God, you are the hack. You are the fix. And if I'm not working well, it's likely because you're not working me well. You're not fulfilling that part. And how close are we supposed to be together? No, you're not supposed to be me, but you're a part of my rib. You're a part of my body. So for you not to say, yeah, I know what's wrong with you, honey. I'm going to just love you and I'm going to just lift you up and I'm going to make sure you become. No, you get on the diagnostic side like a mechanic at a shop that's going to take all your money. Yeah, well, I think this is wrong. Yeah, well, I think that you're going to fix that. You're going to try to fix that. You're going to waste a whole lot of money and you ain't going to fix the man. A man has to become and a man has to bloom and have faced them demons in his dreams at night. And he had to go off sometime. He had to go somewhere and on the mountaintop where there ain't nowhere to run and fight with a sword that's dull with no money in his pocket. He got to go up there and fight with tears. And that woman should be waiting for him when he come down off of that mountain. He could be wounded. He could have won and come down celebrating. He could come down with a lot of money in his pocket because he got a new gig. He got a new investment opportunity. But by golly, that time is when he sees those traumatic situations. You can't put a Band-Aid on it. You can't come home nagging every day. You ain't done it yet. Now that's appropriate because he ain't done it yet. But the more appropriate application is this started a long time ago. Now you got a young boy in the house with a broken man. Now you got two. Now you got a young boy with a whole lot of feminine energy because you're doing the best you can to teach this boy life, reading, writing, and arithmetic. No alpha energy from the dad. So I said all that to say this. When a man is wounded, there's a season, there's a time of the day. I'm listening to the spirit now, that you can get next to that man. You've already diagnosed him. You've already been disappointed. You've already been married 12 years, 10 years, 20 years. But and now you think about leaving him. You've already tightened all the bolts you know how to tighten. You already fixed everything you can fix on him. So you keep complaining about him. That's not. And then you're trying to lift him up every now and then, have a little dinner, give him his favorite meal, sex him up a little bit, make love a little bit, however you want to say it respectfully. And you expect him to be all right. So, but what I was saying, there's a season, there's a little time frame. This is life. This is a spirit that manifests itself in the flesh. That you can go into my heart and I will open up to you if you stop using the things that I've said to you against me. Oh, well, you said you would do, you did that. Oh, you said, you stopped taking my vulnerabilities, my weaknesses, and using them against me like you investigator or Sherlock Holmes. Well, you told me last time that this is where you at, and this is how you feel. If I open up to you, never, ever, never throw that back in my face. And I'm speaking for all men right now. Then I will not qualify to speak for all men, okay? But I'm speaking because this is our show. Never, ever throw that back in a man's face, his weakness. We already know, but you're going to get something you're not looking for. You think it's, I got you moment. I know you can't do that because you can't do that. I know you can't be messing with around on me because you got ED. Man, ED is psychological, partly physical medication. If that man finds somebody he want to cheat with and he get all excited, you can forget about that ED. That man gonna rise to the occasion for that other woman other than you. So don't think that you're saying your husband can't do nothing and he's saying he can't do nothing. He just might not be able to do nothing with you. And that's yours and his fault. Excuse me, problem, issue. Okay, so I'm saying never ever turn against your man like that. It's not gonna do you any good. There's no profit in that. There's very little profit in that. So, in closing, about the man standing up and dealing with these demons and dealing with these traumas that he have, and now he recognizing in his children, and he's even made his woman hard because of the way he's treating us. Even when you there's a time and a place, and it's not talking to your next door neighbor, and it's not telling some other man or some other woman to go and counsel your husband unless it's professional. But it's your prayers and it's your steadfast ability to love him, to perform what God has called you to be to that man, even through your tears. Unless he's hurting you, and emotional pain is pretty expensive. Unless he's physically hurting you, then try to bear with him. Maybe it's just a season, but there's a point that you can get to that man. But only he and God, and you supporting him and being there for him. And yeah, taking his head and laying it upon your breast and rubbing it. That's not something you want to go and tell everybody that you do, but now that'll solve a whole lot. Showing him genuine love, that you really love him and care for him, even in his weakness.
My turn.
Carry on.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good information. I hope the men out there were listening and the women. Good information coming from a man's perspective. And that's what it's all about. Of course, you're going to have a different perspective than I would because we're two different people. You're a man, I'm a woman. So I look at some things the way you do and other things I don't. And I think that's where it should be. That's what makes things in life itself interesting, when we have different views on different things and sometimes the same view on different things. So it's all good. Father wounds can be, I think much of what you had said is what I was going to say. How about abandonment? There are a lot of that going on today in both genders. It's not too much a child can learn to grow up with if he or she was abandoned, but I want to focus on him. That abandonment can cover a whole lot of areas in his life as he grow older to become a young man. Being abandoned, he'll learn some things, but whether they'll be the right things or not, it depends on his environment. When you're abandoned, you are so emotionally ripped until whatever you see or hear, you can take it the wrong way just as well as you can take it the right way.
Because what do you mean by abandonment?
Abandoned meaning left alone, unattended, forgotten, fend for yourself, abandoned.
Are you like latchkey kids, like home after school when your parents aren't there, left home all day by yourself to cook for yourself? What are you saying?
Well, that can be all of that, because abandonment covers all of that. And I'm not narrowing it down to any specific scenario, but all of that abandonedness, if that's a word, abandonmentness, the abandonedness, being abandoned, affects the person. Being home, you coming home from school, parents are not there because they're working, or the parents are absent. Maybe, as we all know, sometimes the parent disappears. And you come home, there is no one. You abandoned. You have to fix food for yourself. You go in there and fix yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It might be some in there and it may not be. But you don't.
You stood in the middle of the floor and cried when your parents went home, when you got home and you were hungry?
No.
Now, go ahead.
Every situation is different. We already knew in my situation and many other homes, but not all homes. There are some homes where they know that parent is not going to be there when they come home from school. It's already a given because mom or dad is working. But there are other situations when you are abandoned and it's just the opposite. You come home expecting one of them to be there. And then one day go by, the next day go by, a week go by. You're abandoned. You're left all alone to fend for yourself. You done ate up all the food in the cabinets and nothing else left in the fridge. Now you're hungry. You are abandoned because you don't know what to do. So you go out. You're getting hungry now. And one thing leads to another. That's where a common word would be stealing, but I just call it sticky fingers when it comes to the young children. They have sticky fingers and they go out and their fingers get stuck on something to eat. They don't have no money to pay for it because nobody been home. They are abandoned. That affects them in many, many different ways. So they're learning things the wrong way. First of all, now, after all of that, when are you going to go to school? You can't go to school because you're hungry. You can't, you're not sleeping well because you're hungry. So you're going to go to school. And if you get to school, you're going to fail. And if you miss too many days, then the teachers are going to be calling somebody. Your son wasn't in school for the past couple of days. Is he okay? Is he sick? What's going on? The child was left alone. He was abandoned. When that child grows up into an adult, a teenager, not even an adult yet, he becomes a teenager. He's been caring for himself for the past, say, 5 years or so. Well, it shouldn't go that long, but I do believe that happens in some scenarios where the child goes year after year. Because why? He's ducking and dodging because he don't want to get caught. He don't want to get put into a home with other boys or girls. So he ducking and dodging, but then you run into a situation with the house. Well, the rent got to be paid. You can't pay it. You're not working. That raises another situation with that boy. All these little things thrown at him, woundedness, when he becomes a father himself with his children. Is he going to do the way he was, or is he going to do the opposite? Half and half. Some people said, no, I'm not going to do my child like that. I'm going to make sure that he gets his food. He's going to school. He's going to get an education. Whereas another one might say, well, I didn't know. Nobody told me what to do. So the child gets stuck. Abandoned. That's abandoned.
I like the way you pronounce that because I knew some people in my community that all they had to do, all they could be, and some of these things, the way you just talked about that, it just brings up real emotions inside of me. But all of this group, this family had to do was be mean as little snakes. Their parents had no cohesiveness. Some of our parents that fought and physically abused each other were home every night. So we had a tolerance. Not a tolerance. Yeah, I guess they had a tolerance for domestic violence, but they still had a family unit. But there was a group, 2 families I know of, These kids, they didn't have no structure, but they was always so mean. One kid taught me how to play poker. He took all my money. Now, how you gonna try to teach somebody how to gamble, and they actually gonna win a game? And he took all my $1.50. I never forget that. If I see him right now, that's the first thing gonna come out of my mouth. But I love your tone of abandonment because I was left alone a lot by myself. And what happens is, and we'll talk about later, when kids are abandoned, they get in promiscuity because they're learning about sex and they learn, and you're actually leaving them unsecure.
Mm-hmm.
That's true abandonment. You're not there for them emotionally and physically, but all the 80s kids, 70s and 80s, 68 and up, 65 and up, we were all abandoned for parents that wanted to chase a vision that had to work because the men were, occupied and not performing as well, I suppose, and trying to make it. But the women were coming outside the home for us, Generation X. Um, Shucks, abandonment made us strong in a lot of ways. We're so independent right now. We're not group thinkers. We can make it. But the generation behind us were nurtured. Generation Y, the millennials, they were nurtured. They were protected more. Now it take 10 of them to make a decision. They're in
If
their
they make,
late
if they make,
30s.
if they come to a decision.
Yeah, if they come to one. So nurturing and covering and being everything. We talked about this in the other show. Being everything that your parents were not to you, to your children, doesn't always help.
Right.
So eliminating this abandonment that we had was, I guess it has to have, it's got its pluses and its minuses, but the security of these children that were abandoned in our age group, my age group, had huge consequences uh, as we were growing up because we were left alone to ourselves a lot. Now, I didn't get in trouble with the law, and I didn't feel like I was abandoned because I knew how to make peanut butter jelly sandwich. But I thank you. That was a good example, and there are a lot of people listening that were surely abandoned and didn't see their parents for days and days and days. And I don't know. Y'all must be camouflaging yourself in society because we all damaged goods and living through our traumas, most of us. So I commend those who are overcome abandonment.
It's I'm trying to think of the country way that it's a hard road to toe, hard to hold to toe, something, however way that goes. Anyway, it's tough. I've never been abandoned, but I have had some experiences with others um, that were abandoned and they were just lost. And that brings us almost to the end of this session. We will continue Father Wounds the next time we come together and have a different uh, focal point because there are a gazillion out there. And I do hope that everyone has enjoyed listening to us as we continue, like I said, next time with Father Wounds. The whole idea of being abandoned it can be very, very emotional for a lot of people. And it just makes you wonder what in the world and I'll touch on this again next time. Abandonment can also be where the child you're left alone, yes, but some parents actually put their children out on the road. I read an article about that not too long ago. Two little children, I might have been 5 and 7 or 4 and 6 or something like that. And they were left on the side of the road. Just took off. Mom just took off and left them. Two little boys. That's abandonment. I don't know whatever happened to them. They were found, I do believe, reading that at the end of the article, but it's stuff like that really can get under a mother's skin, because a real mom, there's a mother and there's a mom. We talked about that months ago. There's a difference in being a mother and being a mom. And it can get under a mom's skin when she see or hear of such things as that. How can you leave your little babies on the side of the road in the country like that? Anything can grab them. Anybody can grab them, which raises another concern about when they grow up, they won't ever forget that experience. They are already wounded at that young age.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Father God, we thank you for being who you are in our lives. We thank you for our experiences. We thank you, Lord, for just allowing us to be able to talk to you about various things in our lives. And Lord, we are on the air now talking to all of those out there who are listening, praying, Lord, that they will listen to us and take heed to some of the things that we are saying, because we are talking about real life issues. So thank you, Lord, again for all these opportunities in Jesus' name. Amen. Have a very good evening.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a broadcast put on by Awesome Radio 107.5 FM. Like, share, and subscribe here. We definitely want to hear some of your comments. If you disagree, you just disagree. But one thing about it, while you're disagreeing, we'll be communicating, and that's what we need to do. Talk more. So this ends another show. We love you guys to life. Have a great rest of your day.